It's going live now. All right. Good morning. We are here for Reading 365. I'm Floyd Stokes, the director of the American Literacy Corporation. And for the next year, we are going to be reading every single day at 11 o'clock, having various people from the community sharing stories. So we're really excited to be joined here this morning by Gloria Merrick. She is the executive director of the Latino Hispanic American Center. And I probably didn't say it properly, but it's LHAC, I do know that. But we're really happy to be working with her once again. She's going to be sharing a story with us, and we're really, really excited about it. She's from Puerto Rico and first born here, mainland here in Harrisburg, born and raised, and we're so happy to have her a part of the community. So can we give a warm welcome to Gloria Merrick. Thank you so much, Gloria.
Thank you for having me, Floyd. It's really, it's really just so great to be back here again. And I always enjoy being a part of your Super Reader programs, and so proud of you for all the work that you do, inspiring the young people from throughout our community to be super readers. And so when I thought about today, after you and I had talked, and I thought, I know that it's a book that I read once before, but the timing is right. It's about Chief Justice Sonia Sotomayor, who is, like myself, from Puerto Rico. And this is the book that I will be reading, and it is called I Am Sonia Sotomayor. But again, I chose this book because I think that it's also relatable because she was a super reader. Sonia Sotomayor was a super reader. She loved to read from an early age. Wow. And she's an inspiration to so many. And during Hispanic Heritage Month, I thought it was appropriate to have a Hispanic and someone who has chased her dreams, followed her dreams. And I think that seeds are planted early on in our lives, and they are seeds for our dream, our future dreams, and our future passion. And when I read this story, I think back and how things that people say to you can inspire you. And sometimes we don't listen to that voice in the head too, that tells us, this is something that you're going to be doing in your future, right? Well, as we read the story, we'll see how there were certain hints in her life that led to her future direction and her career pathway. So again, it's called I Am Sonia Sotomayor. So if it's okay, I'll start reading.
Please, thank you. Thank you.
So the book, again, is about, do I need to hold this up higher, Floyd? Is that okay? Can I hold it here? Here? Or do you want me to hold it?
You can do it however you're comfortable.
Okay, yeah. Very good. I am Sonia Sotomayor. In Spanish, that's yo soy Sonia Sotomayor. I was born in New York City, and my family came from Puerto Rico. I learned to speak Spanish before I spoke English. My family called me ají, which means hot pepper, because I always was jumping around and finding trouble, if you can believe that, my mother used to say. One time I got my head stuck in a bucket while I was trying to hear what my voice sounded like inside the bucket. I also loved making up games and jousting like a knight with my broom, with my little brother on my back. Charge. So she was just like all of us when she was little. One of my favorite places was Yes. Now I know, I grew up with 4 brothers. So my mother used to say, you should be an attorney. So I think I was a good negotiator, but I didn't follow that. But one of my favorite places was my abuelita's apartment. Entering her home was like going straight to Puerto Rico. Once a month at abuelita's, my mom and my aunts would make sofrito, a spicy sauce. And as they chopped peppers, onions, and tomatoes, I'd sneak to eat them right out of the blender. When I was little, I used to imagine myself as the hero of my favorite book series, Nancy Drew. Girl detective. Nancy was a master at doing puzzles, and no matter what got in her way, she could figure things out. She lived in a big house and solved crimes with her dad. Since he was a lawyer, he'd give her the best hints to her Nancy Drew games. She couldn't wait to be a detective. In my neighborhood, dreams like that rarely came true. There weren't any detectives who looked like me. It wasn't that my Puerto Rican neighbors didn't work hard. People aren't poor because they're lazy. My mother would work long hours to pay our bills, but sometimes where you live affects the kind of opportunities that you have. My mom worked extra hours so she could pay to send my brother and me to more respected schools where we'd get a better education. But even with a good school, my young life was still pretty complicated. When she was 9 years old, she was diagnosed with diabetes, a disease that means your body keeps too much sugar in it. And here she is with her mother and the doctor breaking the news. Something even harder happened later that year. My father died. It was like an earthquake in my life. My world started to change and felt very scary. One of the ways I found comfort was doing what you're doing right now, reading. I loved books. And here she is laying there reading her books and getting her inspiration. In this particular book, she learned that her name was a version of Sophia, which means wisdom. Those days were hard for my mom. She had to pay for 2 kids all by herself, but it didn't slow her down. She ordered us a full set of the Encyclopedia Britannica. When it arrived, it was like an early Christmas present. Can you imagine reading the encyclopedias? We used to do that, Floyd.
Love looking through them. Yes.
There was another reason why my world continued to change. My teachers. Every teacher has the power to inspire us kids. This one realized I love to compete and I love to win. So the first time I got an A grade on my report card, I made myself a promise that I would add 1 more A each time. With grades like that, I was on my way to becoming a super detective. Did that mean everything was suddenly easy? No, not in my neighborhood. Where we lived, if you didn't lock your bike up, it usually got stolen. And if you walked relatable. And if you walk down the wrong alley, someone might try to beat you up. I got that once or twice. Once I found my little brother surrounded by bullies. So I walked over to protect him. So here she is walking over and she's trying to protect her brother who's being bullied. That didn't mean I couldn't be hurt. One day I was reading about diabetes and it said that people with diabetes like me could be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or even a teacher. But because of my disease, if I couldn't be a police officer, I couldn't be a detective, which meant I couldn't be like Nancy Drew. That was very disappointing to her.
Oh.
I skipped a page, but that's all right. Yeah, perhaps the best thing I learned in forensics came from one of the student coaches. So she pursued her dream and went on to study forensics. And so when she was in forensics, a counselor at school told me to apply to a local college. But the coach told me I could go further. It sounded impossible. And I didn't think kids from the South Bronx could go to fancy schools like Princeton. But like my abuelita's poem said, to get what you want, you must dream it. I became valedictorian of my high school class, but would they accept me? As a young Latina, she wondered, will they still accept me, even though she was the valedictorian of her class? Princeton seemed like a different planet. Most of the kids were here came from very wealthy neighborhoods and fancy schools. They were used to ski trips, tennis lessons, vacations in Europe. And me, I hardly ever even left the Bronx. That first week at college, I could not sleep. I heard a cricket in my room. Even though I got in New York, we didn't have trees outside our windows. So there she was, she couldn't sleep, wide awake. And she said they didn't have trees outside her windows you could see. Even though she got really homesick, I again found that books made me feel better. Here in the Firestone Library, I saw just how much knowledge there was in the world. And you can see here with all the books surrounding her, just like you like, Floyd, lots of books. Lots of books. Yeah. That was her inspiration. And for everyone reading out there, just remember, books are wisdom, books are knowledge, and books are helpful. During my time at Princeton, I did so well that they invited me into the fraternity and honor society that recognized top students. I almost threw away the invitation, thinking she thought it was a fake jewelry scam. I guess that was from watching too much Nancy Drew. She actually thought it was a fake jewelry scam.
Wow.
She almost threw out the application or the invitation. To some people, athletes or astronauts are heroes. To me, the best action here was a lawyer. That's what I wanted to be. So after graduation, I went to Yale Law, the top law school in the country. During my third year at law school, I walked by a meeting that was offering free snacks. She just happened to walk by this room and they were offering free snacks. So she was a little hungry. So she thought, I'm going to step inside. And when she walked inside, there was a presentation going on that changed her life forever. I always say nothing is a coincidence. Nothing is a coincidence. You got to follow it. You got to follow it. You got to follow that voice in the head. Inspired by my old dreams, I became an assistant district attorney. As a prosecutor, my job was to find the truth and to make sure that if someone committed a crime, they didn't get away with it. When I started, there were so few Hispanics and female prosecutors at Yale, and the other lawyers would always ask me, when's your boss getting here? And she said, wow. I am the boss. It didn't stop me from my job. I just had to convince the jury to agree with me. This man is a thief. He should be punished. Do you know the real reason juries love Sonia? She could talk to all people. She could talk to anyone. Young, old, rich, poor, people of all races, and people of all backgrounds. Sonia had an instinct for understanding everyone. I also understood that when people don't get along, it's usually because they can't imagine how someone else is feeling. Soon I was considered, here's a picture here. This is when she was considered for the biggest legal job of all, being a justice on the Supreme Court of the United States. That's the court where the most important cases are decided. The justices are the ones who make those decisions. I was worried that the job would change my life, but a friend told me, hey, Sonia, this is not about you. This is about the little girls and boys, brown and black, who live in poor communities around the nation. They can dream bigger if you are on the Supreme Court. So here's her, one of the teachers, one of the professors, counselors telling her and convincing her that she would make a good Supreme Court justice. It made me think about the South Bronx. It made me think that there were no Hispanic female lawyers for me to follow at Princeton. Yale, none. The district attorney's office, or even as a judge, it made me think about all the people that I could inspire. I needed to show them that it was possible. So on October the 8th, 2009, at 55 years old, I was sworn in as the first Hispanic and third female justice to ever serve on the Supreme Court of the United States. And here's her at the ceremony. During the ceremony, I made sure that that my mother was standing right between me and the Chief Justice. This is her mother. When I told reporters how much of a role my mother played in my accomplishments, my mother humbly said she didn't know what she did, but I do. My mother humbly said she didn't know what she did, but I do. So Sonia says, but I do.
Yes.
Remember, no one is self-made. No matter who you are, everyone gets help. Everyone gets help from someone. So you always have to ask for help. Sometimes you're thinking about something you want to be, something you want to do, and you just think, oh, that'll never happen. But if you seek out the right advice, like Sonia did, you can make anything happen. In my life, I was the ají. Remember the ají, the hot pepper? The one who wouldn't slow down because of where I was from, because I was poor and Latina. Some people didn't think I could go very far. But there were others who helped me fulfill my dreams and help my dreams come to life. They gave me opportunities and reminded me to keep on going. Those are the people that you need to listen to. Pay attention to the ones who believe in you. The more you learn, the farther you will go. I like to say, the more you read, the farther you will go. Education is like a rocket ship. It can take you anywhere, but no matter how high you fly, never forget where you started. Today, Justice Sotomayor still uses many of her public speeches to talk to women's or minority groups. She's also been on Sesame Street a few times. And Justice Sotomayor tries to end each day asking two questions at the end of each day. What did I learn new today? Hopefully you learned about Sonia Sotomayor today. And what act of giving did I do today? What did I do to give to someone else today? If she didn't learn something new, she reads. If she didn't do any giving, she sends an email to someone that she cares about. Don't worry about whether your dream will come true. A good dream will always, always stir something amazing inside of you. Whether it's in English or Spanish or any other language, our dreams are often the same. A loving family, kind friends, a safe place to call home, and the chance to reach our full potential. The world outside your window is a starting point. It's just a starting point, but there's so much more beyond that. Read, study, do right by people. No matter where you're born, there's no limit to what you can accomplish. I am Sonia Sotomayor. Yo soy Sonia Sotomayor. I am proud that with opportunity comes justice. And here we have a picture of Chief Justice Sonia Sotomayor in her robe. I wore my black robe today too, Floyd, trying to play the role.
Very fitting, very beautiful. Yeah, I can see you sitting on a bench, making decisions, deciding the cases. I do
that now in Allison Hill.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure they keep you busy over there.
I just don't wear my robe. But I like this picture here because it kind of sums it all up. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that okay? Here she is in her robe.
Yes.
And there
Yes, we
she
can.
is right there with all the
Yep.
supreme. And you know, it's interesting, Floyd. I love this book, and I just think it's such an inspirational book.
It is an
And
inspiration. Yes.
not just for Latinas, young Latinas, or for everyone.
It's an inspiration to
Everyone.
me. It's an
Yeah.
inspiration to me. Yeah.
You just need the robe. I'll
Yeah.
loan it to you. I'll loan you the robe. You know, sometimes
I need that. I need that robe.
when you put the robe on, it just like does something to you, you
Oh
know?
wow.
I don't know, but I really, you know, I just find that it's her story is so relatable. And I'm sure when you were listening to it, that
Yes,
there were things that resonated with you.
there
And
are.
I always go
Well,
back.
the thing that resonated to, with me is that, she didn't have an easy road, right?
Right,
It wasn't handed to her,
right.
even with the diabetes diagnosis,
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
her father passing away at 9,
Right, right,
with people not accepting, I mean, to graduate valedictorian
right.
and then say, and to question whether she's going to be
Right.
accepted or
To
not.
still have doubt because she was a little girl from the Bronx, and to
Right.
still think, even with the all A's, even valedictorian, and the voice in the head,
And
because
and
you know there's
and
two
and
voices.
even with being the bodyguard of her brother. Yeah.
Sometimes I think my mother might have known something that I didn't know, because like I said, I had 4 brothers, and so I was I learned to be a negotiator and a barterer very
I'm
on
sure.
early in
Yeah.
life. My mother
Yeah.
would say, "You should be a lawyer."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I thought about that when you said that during the story. You're using your skills, to help other people in so many ways. I mean, the center, the LHAC Center,
Mhm.
and you, I mean, you're like a cornerstone in that neighborhood. There's not much good that's happening in that neighborhood without you either knowing about it or being a part of it. And so, I'll just take this time out to say that we really appreciate you being there. We love, working with you and the encouragement that you give, even on a personal note with my girls. They love to see Miss Gloria coming. So kudos to you, your awesome team, for the hard work that you all are doing, there in Allison Hill, and making a huge difference. And I think about what you said about, Hispanic Heritage Month. Typically we would be celebrating it, with sprinkles of different events and activities
Right.
throughout the month, right? And it is painful not being able to celebrate, recognize the important history and contribution that so many Hispanics, whether they were born in this country or whether they were born outside this country, but they're making
Right.
they made in the world. So again, thank you. You have a lot to celebrate.
Thank you, Floyd. And I planted the seed for the leadership program for youth because of youth just like Sonia Sotomayor.
Wonderful.
In our community, poor community, rough community, not a lot of hope and encouragement all of the time. And so, the LISTO program has been really designed to be an inspiration to our youth. And we've graduated about 50 youth from our program. And I'm just so happy to say we have 100% retention rate. They're in college. And as a matter of fact, right now we're planning a program for them for scholarships and how to apply for college coming up now this year. So I think we could you're doing the same thing with your daughters.
Yes.
You're doing a great job. And all we can do is try to be role models and try to let the youth see that they just have to follow their dream and to listen to that voice in the head that's trying to guide them. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. And you share, you're welcome. And you said it, during reading the book, and Sonia said it, if you're going to achieve it, you must dream it, right? We have to give them the vision, and allow them to go for it, you know, but we have to help them paint the picture, make some things clear at times, guide them, nudge them, you know, and put them back on that path. But that's what we're here to do, because we know that they've got awesomeness in them, right?
Absolutely.
Our job is just to help bring it out.
Absolutely. And, you know, and plant those seeds and just nurture and mentor and stay with our youth, and so that they can achieve their ultimate passion and their ultimate goals, so that they, you know, they just don't, you know, they just don't listen to that negative voice in the head. And so many of our kids, you know, they downward spiral when they listen to that negative voice in the head. And, you know, there's a book, The Art of Possibility, that talks about downward spiraling. I mean, there's actually a lesson on that, and how the power of positive thinking and visionary, you know, having a vision. How about all these people that say, ever since I was little, I wanted to do this and I worked towards it. They got that vision. Now they could have listened to a downward spiraled and changed their mind, because the voice in the head is always, you know, there's sitting on your shoulder, or the voice in the head, there's always somebody on your shoulders trying to do negative talk. Oh, you can't do it. Like it happened to Son. You can't do it. You're from Allison Hill. You're from the Bronx. Your parents never went to college. Your parents never went to college. What makes you think you're going to go to college? So you can listen to that voice that's downward spiraling you, or you can just tell that voice, get lost, you know, and just stay positive. And I even use that with my grandson when he has a game and he's going to go out there and pitch. And I say to him, now remember, do not listen to that negative voice in the head that's going to say you're not going to throw strikes.
Right. So
let's all go out there and throw strikes and
throw strikes. Awesome.
Read. It's reading. It's just such a gift. And
so Gloria, you know, I hope that, you know, we can have you back here very soon.
Sure.
The beautiful part about, you know, the Reading 365 is that the month of October is almost all taken, but there are a couple more slots left. But November is filling up fast, but we need to continually celebrate, you know, Hispanic Heritage Month even longer than just, you know, the middle of October. And just recognize, you know, the wonderful contributions there. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Everyone, have a great day, and join us tomorrow at 11 o'clock for Reading 365 every single day, whether you're in a school, daycare center, or at home, riding in the car. Please join us every single day for a wonderful story. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
All right. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you, Floyd.
Thank you.